Hello YouTube, hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So I finally hit 200,000 miles, actually 210,000 miles on my 2014 Honda Accord Hybrid, and I felt it would be kind of nice for me to talk about the vehicle, let you guys know the pros, the cons, what issues I've had with it, if it's a reliable vehicle, and if in 2020 you could buy a used one and still consider it as a reliable daily driver. So first things first, I acquired my vehicle new with about 16 miles on it, and from the date I acquired the vehicle, it has never left me on the side of the road. It has proven to be quite reliable. It was advertised, if I'm not mistaken, as having 50 miles per gallon city and about 48 miles per gallon highway. What made me buy the vehicle? It was, first thing, it was quite attractive. Even though out here trucks are more practical and more people get trucks, but I found the styling very attractive, and even though it's 2020, it still looks it doesn't look outdated. Second thing was the mileage. Distances out here in my neck of the woods are quite long and great, so to go to the next town, it's very easy to have to travel 50 miles, 60 miles just to go from one town to the next. So I needed a fuel efficient vehicle. And thirdly, at the time I bought the vehicle, mechanics were very few and far between in my neck of the woods, so I needed something that wasn't gonna break down on me. I don't mean like any kind of new vehicle, but I needed a vehicle with a track record of being very reliable. So those motivated my purchase of this vehicle. So since I've had it, it's actually a hybrid. You would notice the grille up front here is changed. So in 2017, we had a freak blizzard, a freak snowstorm. I believe it was late in March, and I got caught in the snowstorm and I wrecked. So I had to get the whole front end. These headlights are from a regular Honda Accord. The hybrids actually have LED lights down here for the daytime running light, and then they also have a different type of grille with blue accents or inserts in there. So that is from a regular Accord. It looks different from the hybrid. Let me go next to the key. So this is what the key fob looks like for the hybrid. It's bluish, looks very beautiful. And this being a 2014, it does not have the remote start. I believe the newer ones for the 10th generation all have the remote start. This is the 9th generation. It was produced from 2013 to 2017, and now from 2018 upwards, it's the 10th generation. So a couple of things you'll notice first. The hybrid sits a bit lower. It has a lower suspension compared to a regular Honda Accord from the same time period, from 2014. It's got this antenna back here that the regular Accords would not have. I think some of the higher trims might actually have that, but the lower trims do not. And then also I changed the tire. It's supposed to be 225 50 17, and I got the 225 45 17. So it has a lower profile here like that, and I think I just like the way it sits with the lower profile tire. Other thing I like about the vehicle, when you approach, all what you have to do is you pull the door, and then to close, you shut the door and press. But I have the key in my pocket and the vehicle is on, so it will not shut off. So this is just to show you the interior. One of the effects of having a lower profile tire is that you will rack up your mileage faster. So if it's showing 210,596 miles, it means I actually have probably, I don't know, it's been about maybe 30,000 to 40,000 miles since I have been using the lower profile tire. The one recommended from the factory actually is not that bad. It's actually quite low profile compared to something like I would say the same segment, a stock Toyota Camry. So it always makes the Honda look a little bit sportier. So for the interior, let's take a quick look here. For the hybrid, if you look closely, you would notice it's kind of fading now, but it has that pearlescent kind of look compared to the regular Accords. The same theme happens over here, but the scratch is very easily. Sorry about the dirt, it's quite dusty around here, but it has like a pearly kind of look. So what you see there is not dust, actually it's just the insert is just getting older and blemished by the sun. The steering wheel is adjustable in mine. I don't know if the higher trims have an electric adjustable steering wheel, but you can tilt the steering wheel, but you can't adjust in depth. We have the economy button here, and what this does, if I press the button, you look on the dash, that little tree appears. I press again, it goes away. So what this button does is it makes it affects the way your vehicle accelerates. So even if you step all the way down on the gas, it will pick up slowly. So if you have a lead foot and you're trying to improve your driving to attain maybe 50 miles per gallon or more, or you're trying to hypermile, this is what you would use. But if you don't need to hypermile, or you are very careful the way you use your right foot, then you can go ahead and turn this off. That's for traction, sleepy roads. What else do we have in here? We have the camera on the side of the mirror over there. So if I turn my indicator signal to the right, you can see on the dash, I can see on the screen I have on there on the dash, I can see what's happening on my blind spot on the right. So that's a very good feature. Another feature I like is with the backup. So if I put it in reverse, you have I can see behind me, and then if I turn the wheel, watch what happens. The lines, they actually show, they divert to show the path the vehicle will take as I'm backing up. Wear items. Once I got the vehicle, within a short period of time, the windshield was pitted everywhere. At the time, there was a lot of construction going on in these areas. So if you look at my windshield, this one has a crack. But this is like the third or fourth windshield I've used on this vehicle. The first one, I remember, it was very soft. It just needed a tiny pebble of gravel to fall on it, and it would make a big pit. So this is, I think, the third that I'm on. Control stack. You could actually do some controls on here. That's a problem which is not common. After this vehicle was wrecked and they had to splice some wires under the hood, and that new fault warning message came on here. So yeah, acoustic vehicle alert system problem. All right, what I was gonna show you guys is, if you go to vehicle settings, You can do the settings from here, and this is the button I'm using. Or you could also do the settings from here. So you have that option. CD, I've never used a CD on this vehicle. You have the auxiliary in right here. It's almost hidden. It comes in handy if you have an iPod. Climate control, turn it on. And of course it runs on electric, so the engine is not running right now. Engine is off. It shows EV. And if you want to stay in EV mode, there's this little button here which you can also press. Let's say you're going through an area you don't want to have the engine running, you can press that button and it tells you on your dash that you're in EV mode right there. Sync means that the individual zones will both have the same temperature because this is a dual zone, driver, passenger. You have a storage compartment here, and there you have a 12 volt 180 watt maximum power outlet for your charger and other stuff. And there you have a USB. The USB can actually be used to charge your phone and other USB devices you have. Sorry again, like I say, over here it's very dusty and there's a lot of stuff, so the car looks like crap. There is your glove compartment, 2 cup holders, and then there's some more storage in here. The power button is starting to fade, and I was looking at replacing this button to get a newer one, but it looks like somehow it's tied with the keys, and the price was quite high, very prohibitive. You have the cruise control here, of course. You hit the button, let's see. There on the dash, you can see the cruise. And then to set. And on here, you have to answer your phone. If you link with the Bluetooth, answer here. Drop the call. And here you can speak some commands. And here is to change your screen over there. As you can see, I am averaging for my last tank. I did 581 miles at 40.5 miles per gallon. Clock. You can actually change the background of your clock. My radio is off, and this is for the current drive. All right, up here you have storage for your glass or something, whatever you have. And there you have the courtesy light. Also here. Okay, let's step outside. On the door you have controls for the mirror, left, right, and then also this is where you control the mirror actually. Then you select what mirror you want to control for the rear view mirrors. And I should say the seat has held up pretty good. That's just some cloth, but there's no tears or anything after all these years. The paneling on the door also has held up pretty good. No tears or no surprises. For the rear, you can see the seat has been hardly used, but it's also held up pretty good. And here you have the gas tank, trunk. So the 9th generation Honda Accord Hybrid came without a spare tire. That's where you have the high voltage battery, so it takes a lot of your trunk space. Maximum weight you can put on that shelf is 15 pounds. Not actually a shelf, it's the battery that's there, but you can access your speakers right here. and right there. So there's no spare tire, like I said. The vehicle comes just with this pump, which you can use to inflate your tires in case you're losing pressure. But many people have taken out this storage compartment. It has 2 compartments. They've taken it out and fitted a spare tire in there, just for added peace of mind. Nothing else special in here. That's just a hook to hang your groceries. The backup camera is right there. For this 9th generation, before the pre-facelift, the lights back here are LED for the Honda Accord Hybrid. We come to the front here. You have the same setup like for the driver's side. You just touch the door and it opens, and then to close you press the button. I got the key in my pocket out here, so the car wouldn't close, and the car is on right now. It sounds an alarm if you try to close it or lock the doors with the vehicle still on, which is a good reminder. And there you see the blind spot monitoring camera. So if you're driving, you're trying to make a right, change lanes to the right, you can actually see right there on the screen you have inside. All right, let's go now underneath the hood so we can see exactly what we have there. So here you have to push. You push here to open up the gas tank, and then you pull to open up the hood, the trunk, and the hood is right there. Pull. During my ownership of this vehicle, I've had to replace some headlights, and also I had to replace the license plate bulbs. I replaced them with LEDs because they're longer lasting. That's from hitting a deer coming from in Montana. All right, let's go ahead, open up the hood. Where do I put this? Right there. Okay. All right, so there's a lot of things going on underneath the hood, as you can see. It's quite interesting. A few things to note here. At the time this vehicle came on market, many of the automobile press reported that it had an aluminum hood. So the hoods are actually not aluminum. The only Honda Accords that have an aluminum hood are the plug-in hybrids. The regular hybrid and the regular Accords, they all have steel hoods, and they're quite heavy, well constructed also. And then the plug-in hybrids, which were made just I think in 2014 and 2015, those ones have an aluminum hood. All right, then let's move on to the next thing, which would be in case of an accident, if a firefighter responds. Most of these newer hybrids, they have this indicator, so it shows the firefighters exactly what cables to cut quickly to prevent any danger of being shocked. This is the inverter right here, and you have very high voltages in the system. So now let's talk a little bit about the engine. It's a new design for the 9th generation Accord. It's called the Earth Dreams. It comes in a couple of flavors. There's a 2.4 for the regular Accords, and then this is a 2.0 liter, 2-liter engine. Certain things about the engine: first, it's very efficient. It runs on 0 W20 oil. So as your vehicle starts getting up there in mileage, just remember that oil weight is very, very light and thin. You might, I don't think you would hurt your vehicle if you go to maybe a 520 or 530 synthetic, because the 020 is just too thin, and you would end up needing maybe a quart every 5,000 miles just to top off your engine. So beware of that as your vehicle is racking up the miles. Continue with the synthetic, but think about going with a little bit heavier weight. So I realized as I've hit 200,000 miles, every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, I'll have to add maybe half a quart of oil. I just went up with a slightly heavier oil, so now I use 530 or 520, whichever one I find. But I try to avoid the 020 because it's just too thin. Or if I put it in the vehicle, then I have to verify every so often to make sure I'm not getting low on oil. Other thing about the engine, you can notice it's quite clean. So what I've been doing is every maybe 4 months, 5 months, 3 months, depending on how dirty the engine looks, I power wash the engine. Now, when I say power wash, I don't mean crazy power wash where you take a high pressure, very hot water power wash kind of deal and spray the engine. No, I just go to a regular car wash. I use the tire scrub, which I know is has very good detergent properties. I spray it gently all over the engine, give about 5 minutes, and while I'm doing all this, the engine is running. I leave the engine, the ignition on. After about 5 minutes, when the detergent has done its job, then I come now with and rinse everything off. So that has kept the engine looking like this, and it's never been to a dealer for whatever problem. Another thing to realize here, guys, if you're new to the hybrid world, is that this vehicle doesn't have a belt of any kind, as you can see. So that greatly reduces failure points and also the cost of ownership over time. The water pump is electric, the power steering is electric, and then of course the alternator is built into this hybrid system. So there's basically no need for a pump. The second thing you always hear about the timing belt, check your timing belt. Well, Honda did something great with this Earth Dream engine. It actually has a timing chain. So timing chains over time, they might stretch, but so long as you keep up with your regular oil changes, which I do every about 3,000 to 5,000 miles, you should be good. Another thing I want to talk about, some people say, where do you fill up the transmission? Well, it's kind of hidden. Let's see, there it is. If you look, let me come back here. Okay, then I'll approach. Right there, you see the yellow handle? Right there, that yellow handle. Let's come above. Somewhere there. You can see it in there, the yellow handle. That's where you feel your transmission. It's kind of hidden, a little bit difficult to get to, but that's where you have the fuel line for your transmission. It holds about, I think, about 3 quarts of DW1 Honda fluid. So I get it straight from Honda, $7 to $9 a quart. Let's see what else we have to talk about. Other problem I had with this vehicle, oh, this is the original battery, by the way. So I haven't had to change that. Still the original battery. So back here, when I first got the vehicle, I noticed every about 15 to 20,000 miles, the tires would be worn. They were getting cupped. So the threads on the outer side and the inner side would be worn out completely, whereas the middle is still in place. I checked everything I could, and I couldn't find a solution for that. With time, it has vastly improved, but for the longest time, every 20 to 30,000 miles. I don't know if a little bit of that is happening here. It looks like it's happening here actually. Yep, you can see that actually. Yes, you can actually see it. If you look very carefully, let's see, how can I make that? You see how that inner part of the tire is very irregular. So it makes you, when you're driving, you hear a humming sound. And that's the pattern that this vehicle uses to wear out the tires. It's a very strange occurrence. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but yeah, I might have to take it to an alignment shop, but I think I've done that once before and they couldn't find anything. So that's a weird thing. I just live with it. Every 15 to 20,000 miles, I get a new set of tires for the rear. All right, I think we've pretty much covered everything. Let me step back for a little bit. So the engine runs on an Atkinson cycle. That's the very proper way to say it. It runs on an Atkinson cycle as opposed to an Odo cycle. So what's the difference? Well, it's still a 4-stroke engine, but with the big difference, the difference being that the Atkinson cycle is more efficient than the Odo cycle. And what it does is, during the compression stroke, well, let's say the compression stroke is actually shorter than the power stroke. So when the engine is coming to compress the gases, valves stay open and they close late, so the engine only has a short distance to go until it reaches top dead center, and you have everything compressed and ready for the power stroke or the expansion stroke. And the expansion stroke, it goes all the way until the pressure inside the cylinder is at atmospheric pressure. There's a variation to this Atkinson cycle. It's called the Miller cycle, and the Miller cycle is different from the Atkinson cycle in that in the Miller cycle, even though the compression stroke is still short, there's forced induction which is used to bring up the compression in the cylinder at the end of top dead center to a very high level. So that's the difference between the Atkinson and the Miller. Most hybrid vehicles use the Atkinson cycle since it's so efficient at the expense of generating more power. I think the Toyota Tacoma from 2015 now also uses an Atkinson cycle. In modern engines, they achieve the Atkinson cycle just by varying when the valves open and when they shut. So it's very efficient engine. The way the transmission works is quite interesting, but that will be for another day. I believe this video is long enough for now. If you have any questions, let me know below. Leave a comment. And should I add, I'm still on the original brake pads and discs. So those are still the original. The only difference I've noticed is, you see, it's all kind of scratched now, so you have those grooves. But those are the original. I can't see how much I have on my brake pad, but I think I still have quite a bit of the pad left. So soon I'll be doing some major maintenance, just change all the front, all the 4 bearings, rotors and pads, just to freshen up the car. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully see you guys on the next video, and let me know what your thoughts are. Bye.